Yes, this is Mary Saujanya, and who all know me, and who all doesn't know me. This is my quick introduction. I have 3 years of experience. Um, and this semester, I'm dealing with finite elements for both the sections. I have been teaching a section previously in the last 2 semesters, and whoever is new, I'll give a quick instructions for the class. Every time when the class starts, I'll wait for 5 minutes, and the attendance will be 2 minutes. Guys, I specifically told keep yourself muted. Vinay Kumar. Right. Every time the class starts, within 5 minutes, attendance will be taken at 9:35. And in between the class, anytime I can again take the attendance, and it would be completely in the hands of the class teacher and the moderator to decide whether attendance will be given or not. You keep coming, you log in once after the attendance is taken, and then you leave. That will not be permitted. And if at all you have any questions, you have the option to raise your hand. And when your name is called, please open your video and then ask the question. All right? Fine, let's go into the class. I'll start sharing my screen, and then we'll go into the class. Whatever the class is being taken, it will be recorded, so it will be easy for you to review again. All right? Still, we have attendees coming. Hi. Keep yourself muted. CR, could you, from any of the class, CR, are you able to see the screen? Please unmute yourself and respond.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Others, please keep yourself muted. All right. We'll start with the subject we are into. It is finite element techniques for this semester. Its code is PC703C, and it has 3 credits. It's the core subject. Previously, I agree it was an elective, but from the last year, it became the core subject. So we'll look into the syllabus first. What is the content that we have? Because this is the very new subject, I don't want to hurry. And the basics that is needed for this subject is also to be brushed out again. So this is what is the subject details that is given in our syllabus. What we have to concentrate is for the prerequisites, because for this subject we need numerical methods, the knowledge of numerical methods very clearly, and to be precise, not just numerical methods, your TOS 2, that which we couldn't complete properly, that is also required, and the knowledge of TOS 1 and the basic differential equations and integrations. All these knowledge is definitely required for finite element techniques. Without this knowledge, it is very difficult to understand why the equation is formed and why are we going forward. So you can read what is the objectives. When we come to outcomes, by the end of the semester we should be able to define or to understand how a 2D or a 3D element will behave. How will it the analysis of the 3D and the 2D elements has to be taken, and very specifically what all softwares, analysis softwares that are being used in civil engineering at present, everything is based on finite elements only. Most of them. I don't tell only, but the thing is, it is completely based on finite elements. See, major softwares, ANSYS, Abacus, Nastran pattern. They're much more. We'll see it in the class. But all these things definitely required FEM. So we have to understand the importance of FEM. All right. When we come for the units, you can see we have introduction to finite elements as our first unit. Now, the important thing is to know what is stiffness matrix. In your TOS 2, we should have actually gone through this topic of stiffness matrix, how the stiffness matrix uh, is obtained, or
Excuse me,
what are the constraints considered. Yes, who is that? Somebody is speaking.
Mustafa.
Yes.
Sorry for
Yes,
interrupting.
Mustafa.
Sir,
Yes.
we are getting others faculty voice also, especially Imran sir, if I'm wrong, if I'm right.
Other faculty. Just a second.
Or is it someone?
Did everybody mute yourself? No.
Everybody is muted, madam. Only Mustafa is speaking.
In which word? Yes, sir. But nobody is there, Mustafa. There's nobody in the meeting. Only me who is talking. Rest all it is
Okay,
completely muted.
okay, okay.
Okay. Shall we continue? All right. Okay. Where are
Madam,
we?
your
Yeah,
video
in
is
unit 1. Sir, sorry.
your video is not coming, madam. I'm not able to
Sir,
see.
screen share. It is screen sharing. It is
Uh,
on screen sharing, no, sir. So
okay.
screen will be seen rather than myself.
Okay, madam. Okay, madam.
All right. All right. There is some
Yes, madam. Now you
issue
are.
going. Are you able to see the screen? Yes, sir. Now, are you able to see the screen?
Not the screen, madam. Your video only.
Yeah. Right. How about the screen now?
Now screen is coming, madam.
All right.
Yes, madam.
All right.
So
Okay.
just
Thank
go.
you. All right. All right. The concentration here is in the whole of our finite elements. We are going to concentrate how do we obtain a stiffness matrix for a specific element. So the basics to derive a stiffness matrix is very, very important. So you have to brush yourselves up from TOS 2 and TOS 1 of what a stiffness matrix or what is uh, how do we obtain that. And next, coming to formulation of finite elements, the thing is why we are considering for formulation and finite elements is in this chapter when we go with, we have various elements and we have to create equations for different element so as to go forward to analyze that. When you come into the subject clearly, you'll be able to understand. So this is the unit 3, formulation of finite element. And then in unit 4 we have isoparametric elements, and in unit 5 we have axisymmetric problems. This is what is in the concentration. All right, this is all about the syllabus. And in the end of the semester, we should be able to know the basis, how it goes for how are the FEM based softwares are being used, how the modeling is done, how the analysis is done. All those things we should be able to have a grip. All right. So please concentrate and please note which textbooks are being used for this subject, because all these textbooks are very important. This person specifically is responsible for the finite elements subject or the topic to gain so much importance. So if we find this textbook, very well and good. And but as of now, what is available for us online also, please take into note the Chandrapatla book. All right, you can find the PDFs also of Chandrapatla book online, or we have this in our library. And Bhavikati, to go with the basics, it's good. You can find a spoon feeding kind of books in topics in Bhavikati. I suggest you go with Chandrapatla more, and then in the need you can go for Bhavikati. Please make a note of this. You need these textbooks for your reference. Only with the notes or only with the presentations, you may not be very clear. All right, going forward. Now, before we start the FEM subject, because this is very new for us, we have to be very, very clear why is this FEM subject is taken into consideration, or why is the subject introduced to civil engineering. All right, see, when any subject is come into picture, or you are learning about any subject, see, we are not in the schooling that all the subjects are just compulsory for us, but finite elements, how is it important in the civil engineering, we have to focus. Now, for today, because it is just an introduction class, we'll concentrate what is finite element techniques, or what is finite element analysis. Why are we specifically using finite elements beyond other than the other subjects, and how is this finite element techniques, finite elements is made, or how can we use this technique. So these three aspects we are going to concentrate today. All right. So first question is, what is finite element techniques? Now see, finite element analysis is a numerical method. Please make a note. It is a numerical method only. Numerical method for solving differential and for solving problems using differential and integral equations. So whatever the equations you form under finite elements, we specifically go for differential equations or integral equations, or much more known is the matrix methods. Some cases we go for matrix, some cases we go for integration, some cases we go for differential. All right, we create, or we take the basics of the differentiation and integration, and we impose that in the elements we make in the structure. So that is finite element analysis. It is the numerical method for solving problems using differential and integral equations. Now, this method is useful for problems with complicated geometry, complicated loadings, and variations in material properties. See, it is not like as of in the textbooks, or to solve the problems we find just ideal type of shapes or geometry. It is not always that we will have a rectangle or a circle or an eye section. If we see in the practical world, we will have various types of shapes. So how are those shapes analyzed? Or it is not just like one time only point load will act, and one time UDL will act, and one time UVL will act. There are combination of loads. There are variations of load. All these things are specifically concerned in FEM. Whereas in the classical or the other methodologies, what we see, either we take only point load once, only UDL once, or a combination of point load and UDL, but it takes a longer time for us to analyze it. And the more important part, when the materials are more, it is not like you just have in one structure you have completely steel, or in one structure you have completely concrete. That is not possible. We have combination of materials going on when it comes to field. So how are these materials and the combination of the materials are taken into consideration? Everything, the complexities of that can be there in the problem is taken into consideration directly using finite element analysis. You can see here when it is written complicated geometries, loading and material properties where analytical solution cannot be obtained. If analytical solution can be obtained directly, we need not go to FEM. If then it is very much difficult to go for analytical solution directly, we definitely go for finite elements because this is the easiest way to go. All right. Now because of the flexibility and the diversity in the analysis, this is what we are focusing. Finite elements is most about analysis. A part is also about design, but we analyze it more. So the flexibility and diversity as an analysis tool, it has been gaining much attention in the field of engineering. When I mention field of engineering, doesn't mean it is just for civil engineering. It is for all streams. Many of the engineering streams take FEM into consideration. All right. Now we know all the softwares that we are taking. Design is made easy, analysis is made easy. Not like number of papers are being used to find out the analysis. Just a software is giving us all the details. All these softwares, say StatPro or Nastran or ANSYS, all these ETABs, all these types of softwares have FEM as their base. Finite elements is the basis for all these softwares. So we formulate whatever the formulation is done in backwards of the software, and based on that formulation, it gives us the result. So we now at least we have to know how important the subject is. All right. Now see, let's just have a quick history of this. Finite elements was first originated as a stress analysis technology for design of aircrafts. It is not like it is started by the civil engineers. The thing is, it was started in the design of aircrafts first. If we see in 1940s, Mr. Hendrikhoff and Mr. R. Courant, their work was the first work that has given a boost to this finite element analysis to come forward. You can search them online. You can see their work also online whenever you're free. But this is a quick history of that. All right. Later on in 1960s and 1970s, the textbook person, what we have seen, have given it into complete or have taken that FEM into different streams of engineering, and now it is vast. All right. Now to go forward, it started as an extension of matrix method of structural analysis. That is why I said whatever differential or integral equations we are forming, we ultimately come in the form, we make it into matrix methods and then solve it. All right. We saw today, previously when it was started as stress analysis for design of aircrafts, but now as of today, it is not just used in solid mechanics, that is for us to find out displacements and stress and strains, but even for analysis of fluid flow, heat transfers, electric and magnetic fields, and many other streams. So we have to understand that FEM is not just confined to civil engineering.
Excuse me.
All right. Yes, who's this?
What is this matrix method, man? Can I know?
In TOS 2, we already saw when we are trying to solve indeterminate structures, we formed either flexibility matrix or stiffness matrix. So we try to analyze the structure using matrix forms. Either it may be force method or in the displacement method. Those methods were the matrix methods.
Okay.
So those methods we are going to take, not completely force methods we go into. We are strictly confined for stiffness matrix method for FEM. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, all right, all right. Shall we continue?
Yes, ma'am.
Guys, shall we continue? All right.
Yes,
Now,
yes, ma'am.
see, yes, now we saw this is used in different streams. When it comes to civil engineering, we have to know what all civil engineering patterns or structures that can be analyzed using FEM. We can see here. We can use it in beams, we can use it in bridges, you can analyze a space frame. If we see, this is a car model. Car model is this here is a 3D model that is prepared in ANSYS. All right, this is a FEM model. All right, it's a 3D elemental model. All right, now if we go, we have plates and shells, folded plates, foundation, rock mechanic problems, seepage also. See, seepage analysis of the fluid is also can be used. There are many more. Only few are mentioned here. If we see, this is the raft foundation, which is designed in finite element software. All right, and this is the plate. Our slab or deck slabs or anything can be considered as a plate, and we try to analyze how it is going to react to the stresses or the loads that are being applied to it. All right, all these things when we see are the civil engineering streams that we look into. All right, now if we think that finite elements is confined only for static or it is only confined for dynamics, no, both static problems and dynamic problems both can be handled by finite elements. It is not like only static type of models or static structures can be taken into consideration. No, that is the case in the classical method. In classical methods, what we see, static type of problems can be solved at once and dynamic type of problems can be solved by other cases. Whereas in finite elements, that's not the case. Both of them can be easily handled. All right. Now, till now we saw in civil engineering stream, where all are we using the finite elements. If we see in the other categories, see design and analysis of ships, aircrafts, spacecrafts, electric motors, heat engines, all these things are also taking finite elements as their basis to design them and analyze them. This is much easier when compared to any other category. Now see, this is a finite element model of an aircraft. We cannot just confine to civil, that is what I mentioned. This is the finite element model for aircraft that is used to design it and also analyze it. All right. Next is, see, this is the model of a truck. It is designed in ANSYS software and it is also analyzed. When I mean analyze it, design and analyze it, it means that when a specific load is applied, how is the structure is reacting to that load is what is analysis. How the stress constraint is, how is the strain constraint, all right, how is the deformation happening, what is the displacement happening, all these things come into analysis part. And when you check in the software of FEM, which is of FEM based, it will give you all the details. If you click for stress, it will give you the stress. All right, all these things is possible. Now we saw an aircraft, we saw an truck. If we see the civil engineering model, see, this is a multi-storied building that has been designed using a FEM-based software. It can be anything, by the way, a FEM-based software. If we clearly see, or if we just concentrate on this one, if we have to solve manually, I'm sure our books won't be sufficient, right? If we see, it easily have up to 25,000 nodes. 25,000 nodes. All right. So analyze every node manually is very, very difficult. All right. So when it is about taking that into concentration and giving that in the FEM, it made our work easy. Now, because software is giving it very easily, it just doesn't mean that you put what all is needed and pour it into the software. But we should know how the software works. How was the software basis was formulated? Now, how that is formulated is our FEM. All right. Now, after coming to this, what all we saw till now, this is just a briefing for that. Common applications for finite element analysis. It can be used in mechanical engineering, aerospace engineering, civil engineering, automotive engineering, and anywhere. And for the structural and stress analysis, I already said you, it can be static, it can be dynamic. Both of them can be taken into consideration. And whether the structure is linear or non-linear, both can be taken into account. And for the fluid flow, for the heat transfer, for electromagnetic fields, for soil mechanics, for acoustics and biomechanics, and many other fields. It is just a few that are mentioned here. Many other fields can be directly is directly taking FEM these days. Till here, we are able to complete why finite element techniques is used. All right. Now, are you people attentive? Sure. All right. We have about 79 people now. I hope we were seeing the class. We'll have a quick poll. All right. Somebody raise your hand. Number 93. Yes, you can speak, but please keep your video open. Hello. All right. We'll quickly have a poll. CRs, please respond.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, in the chart, I'm pasting a form. In the chart, I'm pasting a form. You please fill the form, and I should know whether you are attentive or not. All right. Till now, what all we learned, I have pasted the form. I need to see how many responses I'm getting. All right. Start doing. I have about 79 students attending the class as of now. I want you people to, you can check that in your chat box. You click on the link, you open the link, you'll get a form. You answer that and please submit. It's just 5 choices, nothing more. All right. I got 2 responses as of now. Guys, you need to log in from your account. Please, I'm not, your names are not coming. You have to log in from your Office 365 account. And from that, if you give me the answer, I can see your names also. Please log into your account. Then only I can see. "79 people are there in the class and only 30 responses. 13. All right, how many are done? 51. What is this, man? 79 people are there in the class and only 51 responses. Please make it fast. All right, students, 68 people. I got the responses as of now. All right. I have given up to 3 minutes now. I'll stop taking the responses. $72 responses. Right. Are we done? Yes, 78 people and I could get 72 responses. Very well and good. Much of you are attentive. All right. I insist all the students, please keep yourself muted. Do not open unless you're asking a question or I call you by name. All right, we'll continue. You're done with the form. We'll continue with the presentation.
Ma'am,
Right.
how to check that whether our response is marked or not?
When you submit it, I can get whether you submitted your form or not.
Okay.
Ma'am, what are the answers, ma'am?
Sorry?
What are the answers?
You will get the answers once it is completed, no? You want your results just now itself? All right, we'll go with that then. Finite element method uses both differential and integral equations. That's the first one. Finite element tool, it is ANSYS. ANSYS is the analysis software, whereas CAD is just the design software. Finite element method was originated for stress analysis. It was not originated for design, it was originated for stress analysis. Now, the categories where the finite elements can be applied, we previously saw it can be applied in solid mechanics, fluid flow, or heat flow, anything. So the answer is all the above. Which type of problems can be handled is both static and dynamic. All right. We'll continue with the next topic, that is why are we using finite element methods. We are done with what is finite element methods. See, we have various types of methods that are available, and the other side we have finite element methods. So we have to compare, we are trying to compare both the type of methods here to understand what the importance of finite element methods. All right, see, if we see the difference, first one is we get exact equations and exact solution in classical method, whereas when it comes to finite elements, we create exact equations for the element, but what answers we get is approximate, because the thing is we are not directly taking any assumptions or regular kind of shapes. We are taking the field shape as it is, so we cannot expect the finite elements to give us the exact answer. It will give us the approximation. With some factor of safety, we can consider the answer. All right. Now, when it comes to the next point, when it comes to classical method, only few standard cases can be solved. All kind of problems cannot be solved using the classical method. Whereas for finite elements, solutions can be obtained for any type of problem. It can be determinate, it can be indeterminate problem, it can have a complex material issues or isotropic, anisotropic, anything it may be. But finite elements, you can find find the solutions for all types of problems. Now, when it comes for the next one, complexities of shape, this we have to make a specific note. Complexities of shapes, boundary conditions, and loading. When it comes to classical method, we take various assumptions. Some problem is given to us. We'll assume that to be a standard shape of a rectangle or standard shape of a triangle or an eye section or a circle. All these things we'll try to assume it, because those standard cases we can get the solutions easily. They are predefined. But when it comes to finite elements, you don't have to make any assumptions. Assumptions are not needed. Whatever the shape it has, whatever the boundary condition may be for the structure, whatever type of loading it has, it can be directly taken as it is. See, the problem is treated as it is. Boundary conditions may be various. All right, it can be anything, but it is treated as it is. Whereas in classical method, that isn't possible. You have to make assumptions to reach to the solution. Now, when coming for next point, reaching to the solution will be difficult if the material properties are not isotropic. When this constraint is not fulfilled, standard cases cannot give us the solutions directly. It needs various other constraints to be taken into consideration to reach to the solution. Whereas, as we are already seeing, finite elements can handle all types of problems. That is what we saw. So anisotropic properties also it can handle. Now, reaching to the solution will be difficult if the number of materials are more. This in the starting itself I specified. If the materials are more in the classical method, it is difficult. See, suppose we have an RCC structure. We have steel, we have concrete. In that, we may have an addition of fibers or glass fibers, anything like that. So, for all those constraints, you have to need different equations or different methodology to be followed in the classical method to reach to the solution. If materials are more, we need more steps or more standard cases to be taken into account. Whereas that is not in the case for finite elements. How many ever number of materials we have, we can take that into account directly, give the material properties individually, and then solve it. Now, when it is about reaching to the solution will be difficult if there is non-linearity in the shapes. This is very, very important. See, when we see various structures, where it may be buildings, it may be roads, it may be dams, or whatever it is. Now see, maybe a car in the mechanical field or something like that. You cannot find standard shapes. Can you find everything rectangle? No. Can you find any sections all the time? No. So in all these types, what all we are learning till now, reaching to the solution makes it little bit difficult when there is non-linearity in the shape. Whereas in finite elements, it is not difficult. See, in all these points, when we are comparing classical method to the finite elements, we are trying to tell that finite element methods can easily solve whether there is a non-linearity in the shape, whether the boundary conditions are different, whether the loading is different. Everything it can handle. Why and how is more important. Why is that it is able to handle is important. See, suppose we have an object. I want anybody to answer. Are you able to see the object clearly?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. See, we have an object. See, it is not any standard shape of object. It is something some different shape of object. Suppose this is an object that is available in the field. If at all it is the classical method, how we will take it into, how are we going to solve this? It takes a longer effort. Now, when we go to finite elements, what we do is, whatever the object is there, we are taking this object, we are dividing it into different elements. If you see, this was the object, and now that object has become 3 different triangular elements. If you see, the shape of the elements is represented in each color. Okay, so the object is now divided into elements. Now this elements, now we have elements. Now we have to analyze these elements individually. See, now for this elements, we have given nodes. That is the common points where for the elements that is being attached to the other elements. See, for this green color element to the orange color element, we have 2 nodes in common. And for blue and the orange, we have 2 nodes in common. So what we are trying to do is, when we have an object, we are dividing the object into smaller elements, and then we are giving them nodes. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Any number you can specify. See, this order only have to be followed is nowhere mentioned. You can take the order however it is needed. So what we are doing? We have the object. We are dividing the object into elements. For that object elements, we are giving the nodes. So in finite elements, when we have the nodes, for this nodes, we are trying to create equations. Pardon my writing, please. I'm using mouse, so it is very bad. Right. Now for these nodes, we are trying to develop equations based on our knowledge on numerical methods, differential equations, integrations and all. We are trying to create equations. When these equations are solved, we will get whatever the unknowns are there for the nodes. All right. Now here, when I specifically mentioned displacement first, when it is about solid mechanics, that is for civil engineering, when we are taking into consideration, we are trying to find out the displacements first. That is the basic unknown. When we find when a load is applied on the member, we find displacement is happening in the member. So when we find the displacement, from the displacement we can find out what is the stress and strain constraints for that. All right. Are we clear so far? What all about the object and how is this, why is this finite elements used? I hope we are clear till now. All right. So when we go forward, we saw what is finite elements. We saw why is finite elements used. The most important part we come into is how to use finite element method. All right. When we go to this, the basic point of finite elements, how to use finite elements, is discretization. Please make a note. You have to understand the concept of discretization to go forward into finite elements. Finite elements is completely based on discretization only. Now, what is this discretization is more important. See, in the field, it is not like we have easy kind of structures or easy objects. So, what all complex objects we have, it may be material discontinuity, it may be material complexity, it may have any arbitrary geometry, or anything it may be. Whatever the complexity is there in the object is, by using discretization, it is coming to the form of simple analysis. It is simple that in finite elements, whatever the complex problem is there, you are trying to make it simple by just reducing it. How do we reduce it is more important. See, suppose in the real world, we have a problem. A complex structure is there. Now what we do is, we simplify that into a physical model, or it can be called also as idealized model. Whatever the complex model is there, we are simplifying it. We previously saw we have an object, we reduce that object into simpler form where we can reach to the solution easily. All right, so real world problem is simplified, and what we did, we have nodes, and for that nodes we are creating equations, we are deriving equations. So from the real world to the physical model, then to the physical, from the physical model we are making a mathematical model. It may be a matrix form, it may be a differential equation, it may be an integration, whatever it is. For that simplified model, we are making a mathematical model. Now, once we get the mathematical model, you are reaching to the solution. So, once we are creating the mathematical model, the thing that at the end, what we have is a discretized model. That is reduced model that have mathematical equations defined for each nodes, and that one we are calling it as mesh model. All right. So what we do is, in the real world, whatever problem we have, we try to make it into a mesh model from which simple analysis can be made. Now see, we have to understand how the methodology goes. So when we have to define discretization, everybody please make a note of this. All right. Model body, by dividing it into equivalent system of many smaller bodies. This is more important. Many smaller bodies or units, that we call it as finite elements. That divided parts or the divided elements, we are calling it as finite elements, which are interconnected at points, which are called nodes, common to two or more elements. That is what we saw previously. We have divided the bigger object into smaller objects, which we are calling it as finite elements, in which they are interconnected at common two or more points. We'll come back to this figure. See, for this, we have the object, we have divided the object into parts, which we are calling as elements. For that, we have common nodes. See, for this element, if you see 1, 2, 3 are the common nodes for joining it to the other elements. All right. So that is why we are calling it as interconnected. Interconnected points common to two or more elements. Nodes can be common to two or more elements. You cannot just tell that nodes are just singular points for one element. It is not different for different elements. It can be common also. Whereas uncommon are, see, this is individual and this is individual. They are not common for the complete element. Whereas number 1, 2, 3 are common. All right. So model body, by dividing it into equivalent system of many smaller bodies or units of finite elements interconnected at points or nodes common to two or more elements or nodal points or the boundary lines or the surfaces. This is defined as discretization. See, we saw that was looking like a trapezoid. It was easy. Look at this. This is not a standard structure at all. So how we are going to divide this structure is more important. If you see, it doesn't have just 3 elements here now. It has many. See, up to from 1 to 49. 49 different nodes are there. All right. So when we divide such a huge element, this part is one element. Like that, we have 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are elements. Node points are different, and element are different. All right. So this part is finite element, whereas there are different nodes that are interconnected between the elements. If you see, for this element, number 36, number 40, and whatever the number is there inside, suppose 35 or something like that, that number is the node. Now that is common for the this element, this element, this element, this and this. So one node is common for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different elements. That node is common. So what happens when you define or when you get the solution of that equation with respect to that node? It means you are getting the solution with respect to 5 different elements. That is why finite elements is easy. If you define one node, suppose this node, if we define this node, what we are doing? We are getting a solution comprised for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 elements at a time. All right. So that is why finite elements can take any kind of boundary conditions into account, any kind of shape into account, any kind of material into account. That is because now see, when we divide, we can give material properties individually, we can give the shape individually, we can give the boundary condition individually. So it is easy for us to solve a complex problem. All right. Now when we have one kind of methodology taken into account, there will always be terminology used in that. All right. So you have to memorize this and you have to consider this terminology as important, because all over the FEM we are going to use only these terminology. All right. First one is basic unknowns. Basic unknowns, which are also called as field variables. What is the unknown, or what is the basic solution, first solution that we are expecting for the model? We can take that as a basic unknown. See, displacement can be the basic, will be the basic unknown when we are solving for solid mechanics. All right. Now, velocity would be a basic unknown in fluid mechanics. Electric or magnetic potentials can be basic unknown for electrical engineering. Temperature would be a basic unknown for heat flow. So, when depending upon the type of engineering field you are using or the engineering stream you are using finite elements into, basic unknowns keep on changing. Basic unknown is different for different stream. So, our concentration here is our basic unknown would be displacement. Once we get the displacement, we can find out what is the stress and the strain constraint. So you cannot just tell that basic unknown for the structure we are trying to find out would be directly stress. That is not possible. We need to know what is the displacement. From that, we would be able to know what is the stress constraint and the strain constraint. All right. Next terminology that we should know is elements. Until now, what all class is being carried out, I hope you understood that elements is the basic unknown. I mean, elements is much more important, and for the basic unknowns to be derived, we need elements, right? Now, what are these elements is, unknowns are reduced to finite number by dividing the region into smaller parts. That we already saw in the previous picture. Whatever the unknown structure we have, we are reducing it into finite number of elements by dividing that into smaller parts. These smaller parts, we are calling it as elements. Make it into note that smaller parts is much more important. All right. Now, the next one is nodes or nodal points. For these elements, whatever the specific points that are given to find out the unknowns, that we are calling it as nodes or nodal points. The approximate functions are defined in terms of field variables in terms of specific points called as nodes. In the very starting of the class, I mentioned it to you that whatever the solution we are going to get is approximate solution only. In FEM, we are not going to get exact solutions. All right. So that approximate to reach to the approximate solution, whatever the equation we create or derive for a node, that will be in terms of the unknown. All right. Suppose u of x is our displacement function. So this is the approximation and x is the unknown. So in that direction. So whatever the approximate function we are defining, that would be with respect to specific node. Say node 1, we have one equation. For node 2, we have another equation. So we create approximate functions for nodes only. We won't create it for element. Element will have nodes. For nodes, we will create equations. All right. I hope we are clear so far. Any queries until now? If there are no queries, we'll go forward, please. Guys, are you there in the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any queries till now?
No, ma'am.
Any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right. All right, then. We'll go forward. Now, look at this. We are done with the terminology. Oh, the system. Damn slow. All right. Now, what all we saw till now, will confine that. Sorry, there is an error. Please wait. This is troubling a lot. Click a button, sir. It's giving trouble. All right. What all we saw till now, if we have to take it forward, see, finite elements, I'll tell you in one step. All right. We have a problem. That problem, we are dividing it into smaller problem. We are solving the smaller problems, and we are rearranging the smaller problem again into the bigger problem that we already have. Simple. One step finite element analysis you can completely take into account. We have a huge problem from which we have divided that into smaller problems. We are solving the smaller problems, and whatever the smaller problems we solved, we are rearranging it into whatever the actual problem domain we have. Now, everyone who is listening to the class till now might have got a question. What is the actual necessity to reduce the given problem into smaller problem, or solving one problem is difficult. Now you're making that problem into number of smaller problems and then solving it. No, many people might have got that question. It is very obvious, because when I was into finite elements, I also got that question. Why one problem is solving easy rather than solving 10 problems? But the question is, when in the stream we take into account one big problem what we have just cannot be solved with taking into consideration one type of constraint. Okay, suppose we have, for this problem, let us think that from this direction I have an impact or a load acting. Now, if I take the complete problem into account, and at one point I have the loading, how will I be able to reach to the solution easily? What is happening at this point because of this load? That is a big question. Now, if at all I'm dividing it into smaller parts, what happens? if the load is applied here, now what is happening here, and because of this load, what is happening here, I can individually take it into account. That is why we are going for finite elements. See, I have a video. I'll show you that. Based on that, you can understand it clearly. You're not able to see the video?
No, ma'am.
All right, just a second. Give me a little time. Please wait. I'll show you the video. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now look at this. Now we have a building. Now this building, just imagine that it is not taken as one structure but divided as different elements. If you clearly see, we have different distributions happening in there. Okay. Now when a load or an impact is happening, see, at this point clearly there is deformation in the structure, and because of this load, if you see here clearly, there is displacement in this point. We have to understand that when a load is applied on a member, there will be deformation, there will be displacement. Okay, it is happening for one structure only, but at one point we have deformation happening where the load is directly applied. But at this side of the building, the load is not applied directly. It is indirect. That is why what is happening, because of whatever displacement is happening in this side, there is deformation happening this side, there is displacement on the other side. So when we are taking finite elements into account only, we can derive this part separately and this part separately. We'll see the video again clearly. See. Got it?
Ma'am, the video is lagging a lot.
All right.
It is frame by frame.
But I hope the concept is understood.
Yes, ma'am.
What I was trying to tell, I hope you understood that. Okay. The only thing is, when it is divided into finite elements, what happens is you can clearly see where the deformation is happening, where the displacement is happening. You can get the solution for deformation separately. We can get the solution for displacement separately. This is not possible if we are just considering the standard case. That is why what we are trying to do is, we are taking the problem. Suppose here in the video when we saw, we are taking the building. We have divided that into smaller problems, that is different elements. Now where there is displacement, that is indirectly where the load is applied, we are solving it separately. Where there is deformation, we are solving it separately. Then that is taken as complete building and we are giving that the solution. All right. Now we saw that we are dividing the whole structure into various types of elements. Now we have to understand what are the different types of elements we actually have. What kind of different elements that we can divide the structure into. That knowledge also is needed. Okay. Now see, if at all I have to see what are the different type of elements I have. First is one-dimensional element. The next is two-dimensional element, and next is three-dimensional element. All these type of elements do exist in the field. You can find one-dimensional, you can find two-dimensional, we can find three-dimensional. So you can, depending upon the type of structure, you can divide that into any kind of element from which your solution, which makes your solution easy. Nobody will tell you that you have to divide this one into specific one. Okay, it is our knowledge and it is our understanding to take it into account. All right. Now, what can be 1D element? A bar element can be a 1D element, and a plate element can be a 2D element, a shell, or a plate or a slab. All right, all these things can come into 2D. And then any solid structure or solid type of member can come into 3D element. All right, 3D element, I showed you two of them just because it is not like when it comes to 3D element, a specific shape has to be taken into account. All right, so we have all these type of elements. Now in the real field, if at all these elements, what would these elements would be? If we have to see, you can check this. 1D element, you can take a tower into account. All right, and for 2D element, you can take a sheet is mentioned here. You can take a plate or a plate or a slab. Anything can be taken as a 2D element. All right, when it comes to 3D element, all the three-dimensional structures that are available in the field comes into 3D only. All right, so many of them are actually 3D. So to reach to 3D first, we need to have the knowledge of 2D for 1D and 2D. So then when we come to 3D, that will be easy. It's not like we can directly skip to 5th class without completing the other ones. Not that easy, right? So these are some it is like practical type of examples that we can take for different type of elements. All right, now how are we are going to create different type of equations or derivations for different type of elements is important. Who is it? Please keep yourself muted. Aladdin sir. Aladdin sir.
Hello. Yes, madam.
Sir, if somebody you find keeps on unmuting themselves, you can remove from the class. You have full rights. I will not give attendance to them also.
Okay, madam. Continue, madam. I am saying.
That's what, when the class is going on, in between they are unmuting it. All right, let's continue.
Okay, madam.
Methodology. Okay, sir. When we come to methodology part, what we how do we give equations for 1D element or 2D element or 3D element is, we consider the materials are elastic, isotropic and homogeneous first. We are we take the problem as it is, but when we are giving the equations to the notes, we are taking little constraints to it. All right, so when we solve it, all these constraints will be combined and you'll get the equation as, you'll get the solution as approximate solution. So first we'll see 1D problem. 1D, what did we see? We have a bar element. Now why we are calling this as 1D element is, the application of load is expected only in x direction. All right, so the displacement at any location for this 1D element, that is u of x, is we get as 1 by 1 matrix only. That is because force is expected to be applied axially only for a 1D element. It can be in any direction. Okay, here I've shown you a horizontal one. It can be a vertical one or any inclined one. But what happens is the load is applied only axially for this one-dimensional elements. When we are deriving for one-dimensional element, an equation for one-dimensional element, we are expecting the force to be applied only axially. Here, if we see, it is only along x direction. If at all the structure is, if at all the element is in vertical condition, we might take it as y direction. All right. So any one direction when the load application is there, with respect to that, what is the unknown we have is the displacement u of x in one direction. So that would be matrix U with 1 by 1. Okay. Now when it comes to two-dimensional elements, we saw it is a plate. So here, because it is two-dimensional, force is expected to act in x direction and also y direction. Both the directions we have to take it into account. So what will the displacement become is u of x comma y. That is the matrix of displacement u, displacement v of 2 by 1. Order of the matrix becomes 2 by 1. Okay. Now, force is expected to be applied both in x and y direction. When we could give nodes to these members, what happens is we are expecting there is a force application in x direction and also force application in y direction for individual node. So when it is for one node only, it is 2 by 1. So for every node you keep on taking into account, and that forms you a complete matrix to which you'll find out the solution. Okay. Now when it comes for a 3D element, we saw 3D elements, we have solids. Now I think it is clear from 1D and 2D how it is going to be for a 3D element. It will be in x direction, it will be in y direction, and also in z direction. So easy, right? So displacement at any location is u of x comma y comma z. That is for whatever node you give for any element. These are some nodes we are able to see from this figure. Whatever nodes you see, in x direction we have the application of force, in y direction we have application of force, in z direction we have application of force. So u comma v comma w. Well, these terms are not new for you, okay? U, v, w, or u of x or u of x comma y, all these things are not new. How the displacement is taken into account, all these things are not new. All right, what is new is for node, for different element, how are we going to derive an equation is difficult. I mean, it is new. All right, so for this, the order of the matrix becomes 3:1. So easy, 1D element 1:1, 2D element 2:1, 3D element 3:1. Here what is happening? Force is expected to be applied in x direction, in y direction, and also in z direction. All right. Now for today, it is actually heavy. Very much new topic, but I tried to clear all the basics that are there in the subject until now. The thing is, you have to be very clear that we will be trying to find out our basic unknown, that is displacement, in all the problems. Once we get the displacements, we will go forward for stress, or rather than writing strain, it is better I write epsilon. All right, we from here we try to find out stress or strain or any other analysis that is required. So basic unknown would be displacement. Now for individual node, how are we going to find out this equation? How are we forming this equation is of importance. Now how are we going to do it, and what all is the basic requirements, we'll see in the coming classes. All right. Now, what all class we have taken till now. If you have any queries, please you can raise your hand. Meanwhile, I'll share with you another form. Okay. What all we have completed till now? I'm sharing with you another form. Okay. I have Uma Maheshwar. Yes. Please on your video and then ask me the question.
Yeah, ma'am. Why only we stick for only stiffness matrix? Why not we use a flexibility matrix?
Stiffness matrix is the direct matrix which we are dealing with the displacement. If you see in the force matrix or the flexibility matrix, our basic unknown is force. Whereas in stiffness matrix, our basic unknown is displacement. That is the reason we are taking displacement matrix or the stiffness matrix for our FEM. If you remember, that is what is the basics for stiffness matrix, right? What is the basic unknown for stiffness matrix?
Force.
Basic unknown. What?
Okay.
How will you form? How will you form the matrix? We consider the displacement.
Okay.
Because we consider the displacement for stiffness matrix, we are taking stiffness matrix into account. All right.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. Any more? You can lower your hand now. All right. Any more questions? What, yeah? Are you people sleeping? Very good. Prajwal is idle. Number 57, Abdul Rahim, kept yourself idle. You're not in the meeting. Great going, guys. See, it is not like in the class that I can see your expression and understand. Who is this?
Abdul Rahim, I'm attending.
Yeah, but here it is showing me that you have kept it idle. Careful with that, okay?
Okay, let me check.
All right. See, I have shared with you another form in your chat. Somebody gave a comment. Who is this? Oh, thank you. It's very clear. All right. Thank you very much. See, I have shared with you another form. Start filling the form. It is about the questions that are being dealt from why and how. Okay. You just have 5 questions as of the previous case. So I hope you can do it fast. Start doing. I'm not receiving any answers yet. Did you get this? Did you get the form? Are you able to open the form? Okay, Prajwal, you're not idle. I'll know it once you start giving the responses in the form, please. I'm not receiving any responses yet. Okay, I got 2 responses for now. Good strength, by the way. 80 people. Good. You have to encourage other friends of yours to attend the classes. Good, 5 responses. Guys, you have to log into your Office account, Office 365 account and respond, because I am not able to see who have answered. It is coming as anonymous. Please do not give answers as guests. You have to log into your Microsoft Office account, and from your account you have to answer the form. If you give it as anonymous, To whom should I give the marks then? Or the attendance? And there is a high possibility that I can consider these people who answered for the forms as attendance. So make sure you give the answers. Yeah, of course it may be right or wrong. That is another thing. But you try to respond what all you heard till now. From that only questions are being given. "80 members are there, only 14 responses I've got." Oh, is it? So whatever the repeated question is there, you can attempt it twice. That's okay. I'll take it into account. Yes, FEM means finite element method. FEA or FEM, both are the same. We have no option to sign in as Microsoft account. No, you have to keep yourselves logged in before the class starts. When you come into Teams, you can see the video class. When you go into Forms, whatever is shared to you, then I can see the name who's giving it. Any more queries about today's class or any corrections you want to give? You are welcome. In 5 more minutes, we'll end up the class, please. Number 93 is asking to share the names who have answered. I'll do that in the next class, okay? All right, any questions, guys? You can unmute yourself and ask the question. Any questions from today's class? You can ask. If not, we can end the class here itself. Guys, please stop giving it in the chat. You please unmute yourself and talk. I can't keep reading your messages one after the other. Everybody is giving the messages and it is difficult for me to know. Unmute yourself and talk, please. Ma'am, please post the PPT in the group. Sorry, video is recorded. That video will be available for you. PPT will be posted once the topic is completely done. I'll give you that PPT as a PDF. Okay? Notes will be given to you. You don't have to worry. But it is well and good if you can note when the class is going on also. Okay? Please forward the PPT.
Ma'am?
Yes, who is this?
Can you open the slide of classic method and finite element method slide?
Yes. May I know your name, please?
Sai Kumar.
Okay. Yes. In this, what's your doubt? Yes, Sai Kumar, please go ahead.
No doubt, ma'am. Just I want to see the slide. That's it. I want to read. I'm writing the notes right now.
Okay. Video will be saved in your chat directly, so you can review the meeting video whenever you want. All right.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, but I can keep this for you. Any more queries from anybody? If not, we'll wind up the meeting here. Because you have to prepare for your next class. I hope. Alright. Alright, I have taken the attendance already. Thank you, Aladdin sir, for being present.
Okay, thank you, madam.
See you in the next class, sir. And all the students from next class, I insist, at 9:35 itself, I will take the attendance. And the next attendance will be taken anytime. That will not be informed to you, because if I inform, before that time, you'll be there in the class. Okay? So make sure you're present. This is completely online. No modifications can be done from our side. So please do not expect us to give you attendance or something. Please be present. All right. I have already taken the attendance. Thank you. If any corrections are there, you can contact me in the college hours. Okay. Before 5 o'clock, you can contact me anytime. All right. Thank you very much. And I end the meeting here. I'll stop the recording first.